Hi everyone. It's a rainy, what is today? Thursday. It's a rainy Thursday in New York and I had some extra time, so I thought I would catch up on YouTube. This is going to be a story time video and I'm going to post it as a sample. I think I'm going to start like a subscription, like a section of subscribe videos that won't necessarily relate to organizing and productivity. And this one is just gonna be a sample of what those videos will be like because, yeah, they're not related to the content necessarily. Like, they might be something that happened while I was working on an organizing job or, whatever, coming to from work or just like some social stuff. Anyway, um, so everyone who knows me well knows that I live a pretty colorful life and there's always a story. And so this video is actually going to talk about, it's a story time. It's going to be about something crazy that happened to me on one of my organizing jobs. I didn't feel like doing a ton of makeup, so I'm just probably going to filter this video and leave it at that. Anyway, so this is a story that I actually shared with my brother. He thought it was hilarious. I don't know that I told other friends. I was just like, I experienced such a weird range of emotions or mixture of emotions. Like, I was kind of mortified, but it was also funny. And just, yeah, I don't know. It had me questioning my whole life, basically. Not really, but really. So anyway, the story is about a beautiful Victorian home I was working on. So the clients were, moving from that home to another house in a better school district, but this house was just gorgeous. 4 stories. Like it had lots of French doors throughout, just very elegant staircases. Beautiful, beautiful home. Huge home. And so while I was there, they had painters come in because they were getting ready to sell it, actually. So I was there to help them organize and stage before they listed the home. And before an open house. They had an open house that was already scheduled and coming up, and so I was helping them prepare for it. And so with that said, story starts with the painters. So it wasn't all of them. It was a crew, like a small business, like a dude and maybe like his nephews or whatever. Maybe the nephews were like early 20s, maybe late teens. The guy was probably like 50 something, maybe 60, but younger looking, whatever. So he owned the business and he was a little hood, old school, whatever, but great. He had his own business. They were doing well. He works in these, high priced areas with clients that have lots of coinage. So that is that great. I was like, good for you. I love seeing that. I'm a small business myself. I love when we thrive and do well. So all fine and dandy. I don't really remember how this began, but it became very clear that he had like an interest in me that had nothing to do with painting or like, whatever. Like, he did normal stuff like, oh, give me your card, I can refer you to some people. That never happened, by the way. Like, I gave him my card. He never, he did text me, but I'll get to that. So, I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. I'm always looking for referrals. It's cool. So I do that. And, throughout the day, I don't know, like, I don't think anything got too weird until, like, he was about to go to lunch. So he's headed to lunch, with his, crew, his whatever. I think they were, like, nephews or something. So, okay, so mind you, like, in the entrance part of this house, there's, like, a big grand piano. It was a huge kind of entrance area. Then you go into the living room. So yeah. So that's where kind of like, like we gathered, like if the homeowners needed to like, if I, like whatever, like if the homeowners wanted to debrief me on something, we would usually like stand in that entryway and talk. Or, it's also like a central point where if you need to like there was no intercom system in this house. So they needed to get the attention of like the painters or whatever, that's the best place to stand and like yell out to the person and they can hear you. So that was kind of like a central meeting point, if you will, for like just discussing the job and whatever have you. So I was in there. I was probably doing actual work in there, like organizing some stuff. Because they kind of used it as like, I don't want to say a mud room, but you know, like they had kids and they kept the kids' shoes in there and like some other stuff and like some organizing furniture. So you couldn't see, you know, shoes as soon as you walk in. But anyway, so I'm in there and he's headed to lunch and he's like, "Oh, do you want me to bring you something?" I was like, "No, I'm good. I'm about to head out in a little bit myself." And, you know, for lunch. And, he's like, "Okay." And so he goes and comes back. Oh, I think he told me he was going to KFC. I didn't want KFC anyway. Not that I mind fried chicken. I don't at all. I'm from the South. But I do have a weird thing about eating chicken while it's still on the bone. Like I can't do regular wings unless they come from Publix. And it's got to be the drumettes. My brother and I have talked about this extensively because he is obsessed with wings and barbecue and stuff like that. But yeah, so like I wouldn't just be like, "Yeah, bring me a 3-piece." Like, no, that you know, if I say that, ask me if I'm feeling okay. You know, it's got to be like chicken tenders or something if I even want it at all. But I do love chicken tenders. Anyway, so he goes out, he comes back, and he hands me. I'm in the entryway, or like that front entrance area, I believe. Like, or maybe he called me into the room. I don't know. Either way, we're both there when he comes back. And he has like a KFC bag and a soda. And he's like, "I brought you lunch." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's nice, thanks." And then I set it aside. And I didn't want it. And I didn't want to give this dude any weird ideas. I'm hungry. That's beside the point. I'm gonna have a snack after this video. This is a lot of work. Not really. But okay, so maybe this is talking about food. Anyway, so I set the food aside. I'm very gracious, but, you know, not trying to give him any ideas. I'm like, "Oh, you didn't have to do that. I was gonna head out for whatever, you know, whatever." And I set it aside. I look in the bag when he leaves because I don't want him to think that I'm interested in the food. Because, like, yeah, I look in the bag and I'm like, well, maybe if there's some fries, I'll, like, eat them just to not be rude or whatever. Or potato wedges, you know, whatever they do at KFC. And so, I look in the bag and it's like, I don't remember. I told my brother that, like, I called my brother immediately after leaving this house and I'm like, "You will never guess what this weird dude did." So it's like a 3-piece. I don't know. My brother told me it was the $5 fill up because he knows chicken really well. I just described what was in there. It was like a wing and like some other piece of dark meat. I don't eat dark meat. That's the other thing. I'm not into dark meat at all. I learned that very young. I don't like dark meat chicken. I'm talking about chicken here. I don't like dark meat chicken. But it was like all dark meat and a biscuit. And I don't even think it had a side. Maybe it had like coleslaw or something, and I don't like coleslaw. It was just, I'm like, why would you get these foods that are not universally accepted foods that everybody likes? A lot of people don't like coleslaw. Plenty of people prefer the lean white meat over the dark meat. And how do you even know that I eat KFC? Like, I don't eat KFC like that, you know? And anyway, I get that he was trying to be nice, but he was also, mind you, like doing little stuff to like try to like flirt and put the moves and all this stuff. And I just wasn't having it. And then he goes out and gets this weird lunch meal that I have no interest in. And so I just left it there. And he comes, I forget, like maybe I'm like walking by while they're painting another room and he's like, "Oh," so he's like, "You just gonna leave your food there to get cold?" And I'm like, I don't remember what I said, but this continued. I was at that house for like 5 hours and this continued to the point where like I got tired of this man asking me if I was gonna eat that food to I went upstairs to like the top floor of the house and just like sat in a closet. It was a huge closet, but like I was like, let me go organize this big closet so I can, because I don't want to go off on this dude in front of the client. I don't want to tell him about his pervy, nasty self, or that I don't want his dark meat chicken. So just like let me go do what I gotta do as far away from these people as possible until they leave. Or until the coast is clear and I can leave, whatever comes first. And so, yeah, like he just kept making these weird comments about the chicken. And I mean, clearly I don't want it. I didn't want it. Like, let it go, let it go. And so, but I never made a scene. Like I, just like made it clear that I wasn't, I went and got something else. I don't really eat, chicken, KFC like that, whatever I said. And he just kept at it. And so, at one point, the other unprofessional thing, we're on a job, mind you, and we don't work together, and we're like in front of these people that don't know us. Like at one point, I believe the client may have like come into a room and asked me if the guy was bothering me because he noticed. And, I remember at one point that the guy like actually put the bag of chicken on top of the piano, this expensive piano that these people have. I'm like, what are you doing? So anyway, by the end of all this, I'm like, is it me? Like, do I come across as a chick that, no offense if you like the $5 fill up, lots of people eat it. My brother, works for a bank and was, he was like, oh, I used to get it all the time. And, my coworkers, I would pick them up and like my manager used to love them too, whatever. That's fine if you're into that. But I'm like, when you're pursuing someone to try to get them to talk to you, you're putting your best foot forward. And I'm like, am I just like a $5 fill up type of chick where like a man an older dude who's like trying to put his best foot forward is like, I know what'll impress her. Let me get that $5 fill up. She looks like she might be into dark meat. She looks like she might want a cheap wing. That'll win her over. So I'm like, what is this? This is like all kinds of not right. And so I was just like, I don't know. Let me reevaluate the past 10 decisions I've made in my life and get to the bottom of this. Cause so that's how that went. And my brother to this day jokes about it. And so, yeah, that was the person who brought me a $5 fill up KFC meal at work and tried to win me over with it. So that's that. This is just like a tame sampling of some of the crazy stories I have. So if this gave you a little chuckle, consider subscribing, and I got more. So anyway, thanks for listening. Like, share, subscribe to my channel. I have plenty, or I will have plenty of, I do have free videos, and I'll have more that will help you get organized, help you stay motivated, help you if you're running a business, kind of get things in order and be productive. And yeah, I just want to help you, and I want us all to thrive together. And if you get a little kiki out of my stories, then that's a bonus. I will see you in the next one. Bye.